Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your host, Kalder Ness. This is a very special episode. We have a guest. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Porter is going to be joining the podcast, breaking down some listener questions and all the information for Heroclix for Huntingtons. This is episode 561. Howdy, howdy. Let's get rowdy.
Do you really wanna click save?
Leadership,
Roll a six, make a move extreme.
token up,
Taking action from your team. I go straight to your start, hypersonic speed.
roll a 5,
Getting brave, hitting blades, claws, fangs.
KO,
Stick and move, click a few just to hit a stop. Need a 3 CCE on a flurry close.
tear your dials apart.
Once the timer starts, do you really wanna click save? What's going up must come down. Do you really wanna click save? Baby, you got it bound. Find the word you soon become. You're the best, the judge is wrong, but you mastermind the damage on. Roll your dice for initiative, son.
Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. You can also head over to shop.whizkids.com. Use code DialH10 for 10% off your Heroclix order over there. Not available with certain pre-orders, iconics, or promos. Joining me, like always, in the studio is Ian Eggleston. What's going on, Ian?
Oh, what's going on? I'm excited. This is always a fun time of year, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of discussing the event and then all the questions you guys have for us and for Scott.
And of course, we have Scott Porter, ladies and gentlemen, joining us in the studio. What's up, Scott?
What is up, fellas? Always good to chat with you guys. Man, thank you so much for your time tonight and having me on. I love jumping on here and talking about the event, but also just like, just mixing it up, man. Just, shooting the bird and chatting about all kinds of crazy stuff. So I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. I was playing a little Rivals earlier, and I was like, I'm going to hear this guy later. Legendary. Let's go. I'm just going to talk to the real thing. But Scott, you want to kick us off with what made you happy this week? The thing we do every week on Dial H. It can be a sunset in a Walmart parking lot or meeting LeBron James. I don't know. It's any of those things, whatever made you happy.
Wow, what a range.
I know.
Man, this week, what made me happy is I sat down and started playing Split Fiction, and my new couch co-op partner, which, was like my best friend for a long time, and then was my wife, who really is my best friend, for a while. And now my couch co-op bud for this game is my son, McCoy. And my daughter absolutely loves watching us play this game. My son has a creative writing class that he does every week, and he's been working on a book with his best friend for the past 3 months, and it ends in June, and I think they have like a 62-page book so far, which is really pretty incredible. So this was right up his alley, and my daughter is just having a blast watching. So if you haven't heard about this game, it's about two writers. One is fantasy, one is sci-fi, and they get pulled into their stories, and they have to find a way to fight their way out of each other's stories and get to know each other and learn something about, themselves along the way as well. So really cool game, and I'm just having a blast. And it's just so cool now that I get to sit on the couch, and it takes you back to those days where you're just handing off the controller or whatever when you were little, and now I'm doing that again, but now it's co-op stuff with my kids. So that is what made me happy this week for sure.
That rocks.
Right on. I'll have to check it
co-op
out.
is honestly dying a bit. That's not a genre that's being pushed as much, and it's a real shame because it was an experience growing up. Like, those were always the most fun. And Calder and I both had brothers, so we were always older brothers.
Player two.
So we were the player too, yeah, Sometimes the controller was unplugged, but still having a good time. So that's good to hear.
Ian?
Yeah, man, the company that makes these games, their name is Hazelight, and all of their games are co-op. They did a game called Brothers, which was really cool. They did a game called No Way Out. They did a game called It Takes Two a couple of years ago that my wife and I played together, and now Split Fiction. So all of their games, their entire library is built around reliving this experience. So if you guys, are looking for something to play, they're all pretty easy to pick up, and they're a lot of fun.
Ooh, okay. I was curious because it sounded very It Takes Two-y, the way it's a co-op game.
I was thinking the same
So
thing.
they are the same people. I also didn't know they made Brothers. I had Brothers like 10 years ago. The game's kind of old now. But yeah, okay. It's cool they make all of them. I know my sister and her fiance are playing, I think it's called like Bread and Fred or something like that. It's like a penguin co-op game. I like this genre though. I think it's really fun. I think it's cool. Ian, what made you happy this week, my man?
A lot of things. I know we're a little behind on schedule with the podcast, but getting to open up the Smash and Destroy brick, that one was crazy. Like revealing the Absorbing Man was a lot of fun. That was just wild. Like that's something I hope WizKids really continues with. And then on top of that, getting to like publicly announce that I've partnered with Champion Clicks to help run their events. That was a lot of fun. That was really exciting as well. I'm really looking forward to working with David, and I always have a blast at those events. So yeah, it was just a really good Heroclix week, honestly. And then now I'm back home in Sioux Falls for the weekend, getting to film a few commercials and then, just see mom, dad, a few old friends. And yeah, overall, just good time.
And just like a scene out of Cheers. You guys all sit down. Ian, you're back. Hey. And like laugh track plays. Whoa.
It kind of feels that way sometimes. Stepping back into the past in a way where it's like, oh yeah, not really, but it's like,
yeah,
things are still semi-similar, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's just been a good week. But what about you, Kalder?
Yeah, I actually was able to go see an early screening of Thunderbolts, easily the movie I'm most excited for, or at least superhero movie I'm most excited for this year. And that was down in Leawood, Kansas, so about 3 hours away. So I called out of work sick, drove down, I had my U.S. agent suit on. And yeah, I drove down, watched the movie. It was free. They even gave us a little free popcorn and soda ticket, which is pretty cool. We had some Disney dude yell at us and say, your phone must be completely off. If I see anyone touch their phone, I will yell at you. And sure enough, yeah, someone did touch their phone right in front of me. And he was like on them, like white on rice. It rocked. And then, yeah, we just watched Thunderbolts and it ruled. I know I said I was excited for it, but I was also kind of iffy on it. I was a little like cautiously optimistic, but I can confidently say, spoiler for your review, like, wow, this is like the best Marvel movie I've watched in a long time. Sorry, Brave New World. But Thunderbolts ruled. It was full of heart, made me cry, made me feel things, and then just also made me believe that we can conquer that deep, dark void in all of us. That's sort of spoilery, but if you know comics, it's like fair enough.
He's in the trailers.
Yeah, exactly. And there was also like a part that straight up just made me gasp. Like, oh, geez. Like they went there, which kind of ruled. So I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to see other people's reactions to it. I'm probably going to see this like 3 or 4 times in theaters, honestly. I absolutely loved it.
Okay, so Marvel's
So I have
back.
to say, like, for me, like, Black Widow worked for me. I loved Black Widow, actually. And a lot of it had to do with Pugh and Harbor and their relationship. And of course, I mean, Johansson's great, but the two of them were such highlights in that. And I really enjoyed like Hawkeye as well. I mean, it was that show was just, it was a Christmas movie, just extended over 6 half-hour episodes, but her appearance in that was great too. So the two of them being a part of this has me excited, but at the same time, for me, the MCU was great when like every character kind of had their own genre that they were existing in, and then they all came together for this big hero thing. But so many threads have been just like dangling for so long that look like they're trying to tie together with Thunderbolts. I've been very nervous about it. So for me, I was like way more excited for Fantastic Four because it felt like, oh, we're going to get like a true retro throwback genre film, and it's going to be clean and clear, and it's going to be very like Silver Age superhero-y kind of feel, and I liked that, but hearing this review of Thunderbolts is getting me a little more stoked for it. And U.S. Agent, how dare you?
Yeah, the GOAT is back. I don't know. I love John Walker. I think he's a very
He's the man.
diverse. He really, dude, he bashes. He has a lot of great scenes. I even told myself going into it, like, if the movie's horrible, but he like throws 2 good punches, I'm happy, and that's all that matters. But really, it kind of goes into everybody's internal struggle for like living up and all this stuff, like what you're meant to be. And Florence Pugh easily carries. Like, she's very much the leading lady of this movie. I don't want to say too many more spoilers, but yeah, she has so many amazing kind of monologues throughout it, actually. And David Harbour kills, and then like Wyatt Russell is so he really fleshes out John so much more in this movie, where he gets to bounce off other people, he gets to play Soldier Boy, and everybody calls him out on it. And he's a very easy punching bag for a lot of people, but then he's also just a super soldier, and he kicks butt, which rules. So there were so many good aspects of it. I liked the way they grew together, and I liked how we found out what the asterisks meant. So there's cool stuff. Check it out. May 2nd. Thunderbolts.
Awesome.
What is over. But let's go ahead and jump into Heroclix for Huntingtons here and kind of give us a rundown of the whole show, the whole event here. We have... It kicks off Wednesday.
I would love to do that.
So I have the Tracy Brock Memorial Welcome event starting Wednesday, May 14th, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
That's always the really cool team event. That was always my favorite event, just because it's these hodgepodge boosters, and typically, like, just, team events are just you and your buddies having a good time, playing fun stuff. And that event is $35 person, and then part of the entry will be donated to the HDSA, which is really cool. And that's it for Wednesday.
The cool thing about that event, though, is we really have dug deep in the past. I mean, we used Tab app 2 years ago, I think, for the event, and that is wild. Like, giant bobblehead versions. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your iPads. I think we're playing the game too.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was like, "Who are these guys? Where do we even find these statistics? What are we doing here right now? Where are the stats at?" But this event is so much fun, and I have not actually had the chance to make it in years prior, because I've been working almost every single year on my Netflix show. And this year, I actually have the opportunity to make the event. So I'm super stoked. I think the last time I played in a team sealed was actually at Heroclix in Orlando, the year that I was able to make it down there. So had a great time doing that. I can't wait to see what we're playing with this year. Howard is keeping it under wraps. I think last year we had Galactic Guardians, and we had, I think it was Superman and Legion of Superheroes. We had a bunch of random stuff, some old event stuff from, summer programs that we had as well. So I think there's some Age of Ultron that was floating around. So a lot of fun stuff, and we'll occasionally get the old stuff as well. So very excited to see what we get. And just so everybody out there understands why the Tracy Brock Memorial means so much to both Howard and myself, is because this event doesn't exist without Tracy. I don't know that everybody knows that when we started doing this, Tracy had battled cancer. She had come out the other side of it, and it had gone into remission. And her and Howard were looking at each other, and she said, "I want to help somebody else. I don't want to do fundraising for what I'm battling. I want to, because people talk about it. I want to find something small and someone that we can really help." And Howard called me up, and he had known about me using Heroclix to raise money for HDSA through a different event called Freeze HD. And, we had Baby Thanos auctioned off one year, and it went for almost $2,000. It was crazy. The outpouring of support from this community has been there since the start, since even before H4H. And so Howard called me up and said, "Hey, why don't we blow this thing out and make a different kind of event, and let's team up together." And without Tracy, this whole thing doesn't start. And without Tracy, that whole first year's event doesn't, actually get done on the back end either, because I had to ship every single item out of my house that year. And without her, being on the phone with me like pretty much every day, like me being able to call her and be like, how do I even do this? Like, I'm not a shipping center, I'm not a store, and her helping me every step along the way. It just very meaningful event. If you win, you get this trophy of her dressed up like Wonder Woman, like with holding her favorite pet, and it's just a really cool, really special event, and it really kicks off our entire weekend with such heart, and it's wonderful. So. If you were on the fence on whether or not you can come down Wednesday or maybe Thursday, like I urge you this year, I'm going to be there Wednesday, and I hope to see a lot of people there as well.
Do you have a sealed set that you hope is in rotation? Like a sealed set where you're like, I played so much of this, I know that if I just pull like anything out of a booster, I would feel so comfortable just rolling up?
I mean, my highest ever finish at Worlds was like top 16, and it was the year that Ultimates was dropped on our heads at Wizard World Philadelphia. And I did, off the backside of that set, like really have a deep understanding of it, because at Worlds, and I don't know if this is the case anymore, is Worlds just constructed now, right?
They have team sealed.
There's
they
a
have
team sealed,
Team sealed. So the way it used to work, right? And I mean, this is back when we'd have like 600 people or 1,000 people entering. We'd have a massive hall all our own. It was crazy, man. Like 2004 or whatever it was, 2005, whatever that is. And you had to battle through sealed to make cut, and then you could play constructed. So like Ultimates was like, we were on it, man. But that is a really, really old set. I mean, there are plenty of other sets that I know pretty well. More modern sets, man. Justice League Unlimited. That's not like too old, but it's also not too new. I know that set pretty well, because that was just like, for me, one of the coolest Heroclix sets ever, because that's like one of my all-time favorite, just cartoon, movie, anything to do with superheroes. It was so well done. Justice League into Justice League Unlimited, so to see those versions of those characters is great. And it plays pretty well in sealed, because it has a lot of equalizers, like a lot of nothing that's too crazy that is just like destroying everything else, and the team up stuff comes into play. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So that's it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the stylized sets as well. Like I really like that they borrowed a lot from the show and made it really look like that. Like the Batman the Animated Series set as well, or even like a lot of the Turtles stuff. I love when it's stylized too, like the source material. So JLU, yeah, that's a really solid one. And yeah, just a lot of low point figures too. There's no crazy bombs in it. Maybe the Dark Side at 200. Yeah, but even then, like I feel like he's beatable.
That Shazam is a great sealed pull too, and he's like a rare or a common or something like that.
He's a common, yeah.
He's a common, yeah.
Shazam. He rocks, dude.
Next day, another sealed event is the Scott Porter Invitational. I absolutely loved this sealed event back when we played it. I guess it was A60 was coming out, and we had seen so little of the set. It made it so much fun to play in sealed, so I really enjoyed that. Do we know the sealed set for the Invitational this year?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. This is
That's all good.
This is the 3v3.
It's all good. It's all good. We're
Oops.
doing a new event. Yeah, we're doing a new event this year, actually. So Wednesday is the Tracy Brock Memorial. Supercharged Sealed is happening on Thursday with Smash and Destroy, which we've never run a Supercharged Sealed at our event. And I know a lot of people out there still haven't even played in a Supercharged Sealed. It's a kind of newer event format, 3 boosters, 2 from one set, 1 from another. You build a 400-point team. And it actually was an event format that was introduced after last year's Heroclix for Huntingtons. So we've never actually run this event before. So the Thursday is actually the Smash and Destroy Supercharged Sealed, and half of every entry bought, it goes directly to HDSA, because Howard was like, I want to try this, and he bought the product, and then WizKids was like, cool, we'll prize it out for you. They gave us the pricing, so 50-50 split right down the middle, so that Howard can recoup, but then 50% goes directly to HDSA, and that's going to be a big, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a bigger event for us this year, I think, because people want to play in this new format. We've had people reach out to us and say they just don't have venues locally that carry enough product to do this kind of event format. So very, very excited about that. What you're talking about is actually happening on Saturday this year. It's the Scott Porter vs. the World sealed tournament, which the last couple of years we've been very lucky. We have come out with Heroclix for Huntingtons event weekend within a window where we were like a month or a month and a half early for Avengers 60, which you both were down for. That set was incredible. That was, we were 4 weeks ahead on Avengers 60th. And then last year we were 6 weeks ahead of Deadpool Weapon X. And that was awesome. To get that product early was incredible. This year, we are running in Scott Porter vs. the World a set that people will have been playing with for a little while, because Smash and Destroy is going to be the set that we're going to be utilizing. We were looking at trying to do Lantern Legacy, but the release date for that is so far out from where we are in mid-May, and the world is so upside down with how are we getting
We're in
product
Tariff
into the
Town
US.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's
I don't
rough
want to
out
go down this rabbit hole.
No, we don't need to.
I'm just
Just acknowledge
if
it
you
for
want
what
full
it is, right?
explanations, check out Gary's Economics if you want to hear a different.
Our side
Dude, work
podcast
on
where
this
we
stuff,
discuss world economics. Yes, and Scott will be joining us on that one as well. That's next Tuesday.
The craziest, yeah. I'm coming back on. Yeah, we've got a new one. It's called Scottonomics. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's
but
gonna be really good.
The thing is, this year is, if you watched my unboxing series, and I don't know if you guys had this same information, because we kind of go back to back. And hey, I just want to stop for a second and just say, dude, you guys crush it. I love your stuff. I watch all your unboxings and everything. Watching y'all freak out about Captain America was a blast, and kind of seeing like it came so early, and Ian was so defeated every time he was opening.
Oh
but
my
then
gosh,
the absorbing
yes.
man of it all, it was just, it's so much fun to watch you guys. I'm jealous of like the back and forth format that you guys are able to have. So I just wanted to, give you guys your flowers and big round of applause on the stuff that you guys are doing. Big fan of it.
Oh, dang. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. We put a lot of effort into it, so I'm glad it doesn't go unnoticed. And yeah, it's really cool to know that you watch that. I know in the past you've actually helped us out. We had pulled, I think it was like Supernova and Masters of Time, and we're just like, who is this dude? And you dropped a lengthy report of who he was in the comments. It's like, all right, well, we've got Scott watching over us, so thank you for that.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love it. And a lot of people are like, there might be some people that just aren't down with the format that I do of like going deep into lore and everything. But I feel like we have such a good group of people who approach this game in different ways with very accessible content, so that people that are already currently playing the game, people that are prospective players who maybe might want to jump in, they have something to watch, where maybe they're comic book fans and they're like, hey, this guy knows his comic book lore. I want to play a game with people who love comics like I do. Yeah, I'm jumping in and want to pick up Heroclix, which we desperately need new players all the time. But I just love that we have like all of our bases covered as a Heroclix community, and you guys are a big part of that. So just wanted to shout you guys out. But I don't know if you had the same information that I did with Smash and Destroy, but on my unboxings, I was saying mid-May for pre-release and late May for release, because that was the information I was getting, from WizKids themselves. And then when, tariffs got kind of relented upon for a minute, all of a sudden product just like started flying into the States, and WizKids was like, you know what? We have it. We have Smash and Destroy. Let's just go. Let's just get it out and get it into people's hands early. And that was the decision they made. So we are in the unique position this year for Scott Porter vs. the World, where we're playing with a set that people are actually going to have a way more solid understanding of. So I don't know how that is going to affect the play. I don't know if that levels the playing field, or if it gives like really hardcore players a little bit more of an advantage. I think it's probably the latter,
definitely.
but
Yeah.
But it still does come down to sealed being all about the luck of the draw, right? Mm-hmm. You might know this set incredibly well, but don't really pull the pieces you need, and then somebody next to you just yanks something that's going to be a complete destroyer out there. You know what I mean? So
Quite literally destroyer.
yeah, about
could
to
be
say.
that destroyer prime is pretty nutty. But yeah, just going into like when you know the set. I mean, I was definitely a player like back when Uncanny X-Men came out. When we were on our way up to Origins, we did like a 10-hour drive there. And the whole way up, I was just looking through the set list and talking with my buddy Luke, just going, all right, his opening stats are this. He's got these specials. He's got a 9-click dial, whatever it is. It's like, just make sure you remember that. So when you're drafting, you can just, know what to take. And by the time we got there, it's like, yeah, I know this set like the back of my hand. Like, I'm ready to go. And that was before dials were on the backs of cards too. So it's like knowing the dial length was so crucial. So definitely pays off to do your homework, but you can still win no matter what. It's luck of the draw.
Absolutely. I was memorizing like Civil War dials back when that OP kit was happening. So I was like, I have to get the Captain America and Iron Man like duo sculpt figure. Just going nuts. But for this set, I think people are going to be able to also play it. Like this week, I'm going to play a pre-release of it and everything. So they're going to know what really works for them and what doesn't work for them. But also, yeah, sometimes you just get, I don't know, fire absorbing man, and the guy next to you gets red harpy, and you're just like, I don't know how I kill that enough.
What am I doing?
40, 50-minute match.
But I do want to say, I've made top 4 a couple of years ago with Crusader as the backbone of my team. So you can do good things with pieces that are underappreciated. And that's also why I love this, because I think a lot of people are focusing on a certain number of figures, and this set is like a supersized set. I mean, because like what, Absorbing Man's like 7, but then it's like 7A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Look at this. It's just like there are so many, variations of pulls that you can have for this event that I feel like some of the, B level figures, we're a lot of times we look and just go, okay, what is the real top level A or S, level figures in this set? What's going to warp the meta, change the meta, move into the meta, maybe have niche play? And then you've got all these like B figures that are good figures. They just don't ever see play outside of the sealed stuff, and might be able to surprise some people. So the format's always fun, but we'll say is the prizing is the best this year that it has ever been for that event. I mean, the person who wins first gets a Lantern Legacy factory set. With
That's
the delivery
amazing.
hopefully being in the pre-release window of Lantern Legacy, and if not in the pre-release window, when the set releases. And, I've said this elsewhere, but you don't just get a factory set the week that a set releases almost ever. It usually takes a couple of months for those things to start popping up in the wild, So to have that already locked and loaded, knowing that, hey, July is already taken care of from me if you're coming out as the champion of this event. Like, I don't have to buy a single case of Lantern Legacy. I got the factory set coming to me, when the set's
And of
dropping.
every
This is
set,
awesome. So,
Lantern Legacy, as far as this year goes, that has to be like the set to get a factory set of. I don't know if there's anything better. Like, come on, the Lanterns are back. Who's not excited for that? So, yeah, that's an incredible prize.
Yeah, if it's anything like BTU, then it's every single construct, every single team-up card, legacy card, all that stuff. It's like, that's going to be a fire set to get a factory set of. Is there anything you can tell us, more hints about this Rivals Respawn map?
I mean, I think we've pretty much covered it. I don't know if you guys got to see the stream that we did, V, Muse, and myself on the WizKids official YouTube channel. But it's on there. You can
Is
see
it? Oh, okay.
on the stream. I'm surprised that somebody hasn't just cut it and put it out in the wild. But basically, what I wanted to try and do is something that felt like a hero shooter style map. So I used the Hydra format. If you don't know, if you play Marvel Rivals, but you don't know what Hell's Heaven or Heaven's Hell is, this is both a satellite and a volcano base that Hydra uses in their experimentation, trying to create two different things. One is where they try to create their super soldier, and the other one is where they try to deal with creating their own version of symbiotes. And it's been seen in the comics and Secret Avengers and a couple of other things, but it also popped up in Marvel Rivals. So the map has a Hydra theme to it. It is basically Heaven's Hell. It has, a couple of like a leadership break room almost on the south side of the map. On the north side of the map, you kind of have the scientists mod room where they're sitting up there and kind of running, these tests. And then in the middle of the map, you have this symbiote or super soldier tank. You're not sure what is inside of it. You just know that whatever Hydra's trying to do there is pretty nasty. And you got the Hydra logo everywhere. You've got 2 pools of lava on either side of the, super soldier tank platform that's in the middle of the map that lead up to 2 balconies on the 3rd floor of the map. So the way the map is built is you got 9 by 9 corners that are actually level 1. So level 1 is in all 4 corners of the map. And when you go up into the respawn rooms, you are going into level 2. And when you go up onto the balcony, you're onto level 3, which looks over level 2, which is in the middle of the map. So the super soldier tank is in the middle. And there are 2 map rules for the map. If you finish a turn with any of your friendly characters in the lava, you immediately respawn in one of the 2 respawn areas on the map. You are then stripped of any immunity that is granted to you, either by first turn or by powers that you would therein be granted. So the respawn rooms don't make you safe. That's the only thing we couldn't really emulate in the game, because when you respawn into your own respawn room in a game like Marvel Rivals. But when you respawn on this map, you can respawn in either of the 2 rooms because there's no delineating between the 2 of them. So pretty interesting rule there. And then to kind of further emulate the game, there are, if people out there don't play, you have, your support characters, which are usually, pretty flimsy, take a little bit of damage and you're going back to respawn. And then DPS characters, who are your glass cannons, who are your area controls. They take a little bit of damage, they're going back to respawn. But then you have tanks, and the tanks can take a lot more damage. So there is a rule on the map that when your figure is dealt is the operative word here, 3 or more damage, you also go back to a respawn room. So, if you're able to shrug some of that off, you don't actually take a full 3 because of damage reducers, etc. You get to stay in the fight a little bit longer. So a couple of rules there for the map. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. What I like about what WizKids allows us to do every year, it seems that they allow us to reach, a little bit farther back into Heroclix past and bring some of the nostalgia forward. So when Galactic Guardians came out, there was, I don't know if you guys remember the space map, right? Really unique rules on the space map. Lack of gravity, knockbackbacks flying all over the place.
Yeah, that was
There's
around
so many
like Brave and the Bold era, right?
Like Supernova have a map like that too, right? Where it's like insane
maybe it was
knockback.
Supernova. Yeah, yes, Supernova. That's the one I'm
I know a lot
talking
of people
about.
played it competitively, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I know a couple of people have built around the Ice Lake map from last year. Utilizing water terrain. I think the new Namor that came out is actually pretty nasty on that map. If you haven't taken a look at synergies there, maybe take a peek at it. But this year with Rivals, I'm sure we'll see how the player base responds. I hope people have fun with it. But what I really want to do is spark something in the people who have been around playing this game for a long time and go, man, I remember maps used to do this. And they're doing a lot of it themselves, WizKids, with the new one-shots, are feeling, as Brian said on the Spider-Verse Behind the Booster video that I did, he sees them as, what are the ID cards? He feels like one-shots feel like ID cards. And I was kind of likening some of them to feats, but like this is all like it gets your nostalgia going, So as we're doing these new game elements that harken back to an older time of Heroclix, I kind of wanted to do something like that with this map as well. So the legendary version of the map, which I know you guys have come down before, what we do is we do a purple ring map that I make that, you can purchase, actually. Everybody out there can purchase this map online at heroclixforhuntingtons.com through our storefront. And, all the money outside of production costs goes directly to HDSA for the Heroclix for Huntingtons initiative to help families who have Huntington's disease running through them battle it and find the help and support and therapy that they need and try to find a cure. However, we have a gold-rimmed map That is the variant. And this you can only get through the auction or through winning it in one of, I believe, 3 events in this event weekend. And that one is the Rivals Respawn Legendary variant, where Star-Lord has shown up. He's decided he's had enough of Hydra. He spray painted his, Star-Lord insignia over Hydra, their big leadership table, and then he spray painted Legendary right across the main floor, and he has broken the symbiote tank. Ooze is everywhere. Everything's on fire, and much like the game, most of the level at this point is completely destroyed. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The variant's really cool, and getting able to play in that way is pretty awesome too. Map plays the exact same, but has a much different aesthetic look.
That's
I
awesome.
like it. I like it a lot.
Really, really
I know
cool.
I've got the 2
Great.
what's it called? The one normal racer car, and then it's like the Racer X car as well. I know I like that. I own both versions of that map. It's pretty fun. So I'm always a big fan of like the reskin.
We keep it in our studio 24/7.
That's true.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, what is did we even really round out the event? So first place is walking home with the Lantern Legacy Factor set. I know tangents, they can happen so easily. But in addition to that, yeah, everything that was shown off on that stream as well is also part of the prizing there. Like one that I'm particularly excited for, the Forbush Man. Really looking forward to seeing him. Gosh, that's going to be cool.
That's just such a goofy Marvel character that I'm excited they actually made. Like, that rocks.
Going back to Supernova, like Forbush Man was a bystander, and it was a big deal at the time. He had a 17 defense, and he was only like 4 points. It's like, why does he have such a high defense? 17 for Forbush Man? And people have been dying to have him in the game as a playable character. So to see him, and then to have him interact in a somewhat like meta way, in the sense of like outside the game, where it's like if you're a non-Marvel character, you're getting penalized. I really, really like that. So that one, I was really excited to see that. So another great opportunity to walk away with some cool stuff from this event.
Yeah, and that's a part of our auction actually. And this year we've kind of narrowed down and tried to identify how do we still do this, to steal a term from John Schreiner over at WizKids, surprise and delight with the prizing that we have. And the auction ends on Saturday night, and it's going to open on the Wednesday before. And this year we have a ton of items, and I know the last couple of years, the witching hour has happened where the auction ends, and it's supposed to go into overtime where people can keep on bidding on an item. They have 60 seconds to do so, and so the auction could last, extra 45 minutes or whatever, which it did the first and second year that we ran this event. But the last 2 years, we have put so many items into the auction and had so many people bidding on them through Auxit all at once that the auction is just like wrapped out. And some people were happy, some people were not. Some people were like, hey, I could keep that down payment for a car I wanted that I had, tied up in your auction.
I was
Thankfully,
personally
I didn't win anything.
very happy. David Newmark, on the other hand, was not very happy. I was excited to beat him for the, I think it was the A60 brick that you unboxed. And I was like, oh, very nice. Very good deal.
Yeah, dude. But this year, what we're doing is we're opening up the auction with all the items for you to take a look at on the first day, like we always do, but we are going to batch out some of these items so that they have a different end time. So some of the non-exclusive, non-unique pricing that we have that is still very interesting for a lot of people might, wrap out on Friday night. And then throughout Saturday, starting on the evening, there's going to be, items that are batching out every 30 minutes. And that way we can alleviate the massive traffic jam that we have at the end of the Saturday auction. So not all, 280 items are going to be wrapping out at once. But the auction is insane. The promotional figures that you were just talking about, Forbush Man, which I love the idea of this guy. He was like the cover of the Marvel Mad magazine. That was where he came from, actually, the House of Eck. It was this, it just lampooned all the superhero stuff, and people absolutely loved this Marvel mag that they had. And he's part of the next 5 Marvel promotional figure auction item that we're auctioning off. And how that's going to work is WizKids is hoping to mail out all 5 of these promotional figures as a bundle the week before Worlds happens. So you'll get everything before Worlds happens. And only 3 of these pieces are releasing at Worlds. 2 have a future release date. I believe that's Deity Thor, and there's another one as well. So those pieces hopefully will end up in the hands of whoever wins them a little bit early. They'll have, kind of first look kind of feel to them. And of course, with the caveat of, this wild west that we are in right now with tariffs and shipping and all of these things, but this is the goal of WizKids and of us. And having Ryan Opalk, who is the community manager now over there, is just, it's fantastic. He was so good at fulfilling all this stuff last year. We've got all the faith in the world that we're going to get to do the same thing. We also have 2 of the DC next 5 promotional figures could be released the same way. We have future sets, factory sets. Lantern Legacy is a part of the auction, as well as X-Men 97 is a part of the auction, which is incredibly cool. We have 2 Heralds of Galactus Iconics, which do not release until much later in the summer, that we will have, that I already have in hand with me right now, as well as 2 of the Batcave. 2 of the Batcave Iconics, which Batcave Volume 1, which will have that. Yeah. Boom. Which people will be able to walk out with as well. We also have, and I almost use this as this is what made me happy this week. We have companies outside of WizKids now calling me about this event and saying, how can I help? I don't know if you guys are familiar with a company called Mondo. It was an art.
Oh, the pin company?
Oh, sure. They make toys, yeah.
Yeah.
They're collectibles.
Yeah, and posters and all of those things. A couple of years ago, they were bought by Funko. They're much more corporate now, and a lot of the artists that created that company actually bailed out and said, we want to do artist-driven stuff still, and we want to do it with music as well. And they created a new company called Made by Mutant, and they did a Marvel Rivals soundtrack that I'm going to have signed by me and a couple of the other voice actors that's going to be in the auction. They called me and they're like, hey, we want to help support. Can we send you a couple of these vinyl albums? And then just the other day, Sideshow Collectibles reached out to me and they're like, hey, it looks like you're using the Hulk, like something Hulkish for a lot of your events. We have this incredible, World Breaker Hulk statue. This thing's worth $1,400, and they sent it to us already. They're like, we want to give this to your auction. So, chances are you're getting that piece for, much less than what it actually goes for. And that makes me so happy that what we're setting out to do with this event is raise awareness. And of course, raise money, but raise awareness. The reason I have this event in May is because May is Huntington's Awareness Month. And I felt like we just didn't have enough visibility for this disease, which people call a boutique disease. It just means that it's too small for people to really care about. We've tried to get grants and stuff from the government, and they basically told us you need a big time celebrity or an ice bucket challenge to get us to recognize this thing even exists. And it's just heartbreaking when you hear that over and over again. But to know that this event is based in such a niche community, small but mighty, I will say, this Heroclix community that I love so much. But we're reaching outside of that now. And people are calling us and saying, hey, how can I help? And that just means that the goal of awareness is really actually starting to spread. And that's so cool. So we have a bunch of stuff. I mean, Santa Monica Studios, God of War, they gave me a poster, an original art piece. It's one of 130 made by the original artist of God of War. And it's signed by 14 different cast members and the lead writer on God of War, the 2018 one and Ragnarok. And it's this poster is incredible. And that's going in our auction too. So we have things that it's not just Heroclix. So for the collectors that feel like they have everything they could possibly have, every piece they could possibly have in Heroclix, there's still something for them as well. So that stuff is just really cool.
Sideshow Collectibles,
awesome.
That's huge for me.
Yeah.
All the hot toys and statues.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I
I'm
have. Oh,
well
my
aware
God.
of your Sideshow.
That rocks. I'm actually really stoked to hear that. That's going to be amazing, especially them reaching
I go
out
through
and
my
supporting the
phases.
cause. Oh, yeah, dude. The statue
for
phase
a while
was nuts.
last year, the statue phase was crazy. I ended up picking up a handful of Doctor Doom and Batman, and I ended up getting a Phantasm from the animated series, and then I was sated, but I'm sure the statue phase will come back. So yeah, that is super cool to hear that they're reaching out to you and asking what can we do? That's awesome.
Yeah, man, if you want to take a look at this thing, you just type in Gladiator Hulk sideshow,
like-
and it'll pull. I mean, this thing is beautiful.
It's like the
dude.
size
This
of
thing
like
is
a
incredible.
grown man's torso, right? Like these are huge. I want to say.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
several of them are like
This thing
just
came in-
massive.
2 boxes, 2 big old boxes.
Oh.
It's 27 inches tall. I mean, this thing is massive.
Yeah. Oh man,
so
it's
cool.
the one where he's got like the one knobbed mace up, and then he's got one hand on this monster. Yeah, this thing is mad. Oh my gosh, yeah, this thing is huge. That
Yeah.
rocks. Okay,
Yeah, dude.
put my hat in the ring.
you go.
See what we can do. See if we can win.
Yeah,
get Matt on the line.
That's
he'll be
true.
interesting.
Matt Reed, big Hulk guy. He'd
Big
take
Hulk
it.
guy.
And then
we. Oh, sorry.
no,
Go ahead.
you
man.
go ahead.
I was
No,
just
you
going to
go
say
ahead.
we talked about the auction and we talked about the Scott Porter Bristol World Tournament. We talked about the Supercharged Sealed and the Tracy Brock. The one thing we didn't actually talk about, or the 2 things that we didn't talk about, were the Scott Porter Invitational teams constructed this year is modern. It's happening on Friday. And this is where you find a lot of our unique pricing. The pick a legacy card, the create a bystander, the become a switch clicks prize, and the creative map. And this started out the Scott Porter Invitational when we were online only our first year as a singles tournament. It was themed. You had to have 2 members of your team were a family because the tagline for Heroclix for Huntingtons is family is everything. We've evolved that family format and that theme into having a team format because quite literally you're tethered to your 2 teammates. It is about as family as you can get in the game of Heroclix. This year, we are going 3v3, 400-point modern with Extreme Highlander rules. And it's exciting. We've evolved every year. Every year the format's been a little bit different. Last year was Silver Age, this year Modern Age, and I think that some people are very, very excited to not be playing Silver actually this year. So I'm stoked that people are excited. And, the top 30 teams in this tournament get one of the 2 figures that we're premiering at the event this year. We're premiering 2 different figures, Joker Fish, which is a piece of equipment, but it's so funny. And,
It gives poison. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's
like
awesome,
my favorite
man.
power
And
in the game.
Ugh.
Dude, I know. I mean, I was just talking about Lamp with somebody. Lockjaw, armor piercing,
Dark times.
mastermind,
Mastermind,
and
poison. You got it. Yeah.
and
My venue
yeah,
never got that nasty, thankfully. I mean, back in the day, I was really young at the time, and I remember like hearing about it and knowing what it was, but thankfully never had to play against it like that many times. But yeah, lamping. Oh yeah, you don't want to be caught lamping. Get you a bad name around Sioux Falls.
It should have a bad name everywhere. I was living in New York at the time and playing at
I
like
bet
4
they were
different
lamping
venues
all the
while I was-
time.
Yeah, I mean, well, some of them were themed venues, but a couple of them were just like they meant business, Hey, we're in New York. We mean business up here. What do you think we're gonna do? Sit down and say,
Hey, I got a
"Oh, play
rookie
some-
Black Adam, man.
I got a rookie.
Got the
Hey,
dumpster.
Let's go. I got a hot guy with a sky cycle. Let's go. Anyway, top 30 teams get the Jokerfish. So 90 Jokerfish going out the door. And the top 16 teams are going to be getting Daredevil and Elektra, which is the other figure that we are premiering this year, which is really cool. We're kind of a part of now WizKids convention cycle or big event cycle. It's like Adepticon, and then it's us, and then the summer conventions, and then Worlds at the end of the summer, going into fall. And we're kind of a part of that cadence now. And this is the first time ever they've given us to premiere at our event, which is super cool. So 48 people in this event walking away with a Daredevil and Elektra, top 16 teams. And then the pricing for the teams event this year is also taken a step forward. And this is all WizKids helping us out. But first place team, each of the teammates gets their own factory set for Smash and Destroy. In years past, the teams have had to kind of, do a draft of a single factory set that they would kind of pick apart. And, it was a part of larger, prizing pots, but it was, still they're having to divvy things up this year. All 3 of them are getting that. Second place gets Spider-Verse factory sets for all 3 of the players on their team. And the top 4 That's where our retail chase boosters start to come into play, which I know are in high demand as well. But this is the event where I really get to highlight Fellowship. I know you guys played in this one as well, right? The teams event when you came down.
I played with Matt Reed and Spencer White, and yeah, we did the Legacy card Captain America from this set for our Fellowship win. So I love this event
because you won Fellowship. Yeah. And that's what I really wanted to focus on with this one is that, family is everything. Fellowship is a massive part of this event. There's a huge weekend-long fellowship that gets to become a switch click to put themselves in the game of Heroclix. And for this event, the fellowship gets a choice between, first place will pick theirs first, and then fellowship gets a pick of, pick a legacy card, create a bystander, create a map. Want to make sure that fellowship is almost prized out even stronger than first place. And you can go to Heroclix for Huntingtons.com, see the total pricing. You'll see just how massive all of this stuff really is. So I just wanted to talk about that. And the last thing for the weekend is the Rock World Championships, which are all Howard. That's Sunday. That's for the big boys who want to go and play for cash prizes, which are completely provided by Howard. This is the culmination of the Rock season. This is his World Championships. A lot of people play in these events all over the country. So it's just a really cool time for them to get together as well. It's a partnership between Rock. That is the long and short of the event. The only other thing I want to talk about is for people coming down, we have a new venue this year. Lucky Dice Cafe is no longer. We are still in Huntsville, but we are at a virtual reality cafe called Divergence, and we are very excited to be there. They have allowed us to offer something awesome to everybody that comes down. For $55, everybody can buy something called a Very Important Family package, which gives you wristbands for you and your immediate family, your spouse, whoever that you bring with you for unlimited virtual reality play in this venue. They have our big virtual reality space that also has enough gaming space for other things to be held. And that in itself is, that pays for itself. 5 days of virtual reality play for free. If you need to take a break from clicks, walk away from the table, you're a little bit on tilt, go ahead and go do your thing. But everybody also will get a Daredevil and Elektra and another promotional figure, kind of like a zombie Scarlet Witch, something in that realm, as well as a map for our event for the weekend. So all of those things together as a part of this Very Important Family pack, I mean that you're really walking away with, and I misspoke, sorry, not the map. You actually get the Phoenix Bystander, which I know so many people are super excited about.
That's
now.
good.
So you get one of our unique, one of our unique prizes. Yeah, one of our unique prizes. You get one of the promotional figures that we're premiering. You get the Mansion Rock Neoprene map, which was created for the 2024 states and provincial championship winners. And this is the first time that is unveiling. So yeah, you do get a map, you get the Phoenix Bystander token, you get a bunch of other pieces, and you get unlimited virtual reality for the entire weekend for you and for your family, $55. So, there's just so many ways now that we are able to help raise money for this, and, this cause that is, I say it's an incredible cause because it's so near and dear to me, but I feel like the Heroclix community has really stepped up and they agree that it's a pretty special cause at this point as well. So, that's it. That's the whole wrap up on the event weekend.
Really quickly, I just got to say, that's an amazing deal. Very similar to the TCB package. Yeah. So not only do I get some LEs, a great map that's also debuting at this event, but after I roll 3 crit misses, I can just go to Beat Saber and crush Radioactive really quick and make me feel better. It's a pretty good deal. I like it.
I do like it.
That is exactly what we are hoping to do. It's just giving people options, and also for family members who come and want to take a look at the sport of Heroclix, if you want to say. My kids lasted about 20 minutes at a game at Champion Clicks. So it's they can watch for so long and then they want to go do something else. Whether it's go down to the pool at a hotel or strap on a VR headset and, like you said, go crazy in Beat Saber. Let's go. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
The event is going to run from May 14th all up until the 18th, of course, on Sunday. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. And then, is there anything else we wanted to cap off with the event? I think we did an amazing job covering the entire thing.
Yeah.
The prizing is amazing because we do also have a lot of listener questions that people want to pick your brain, Scott. So I just want to make sure we wrap up.
We can buzz through these.
Let's do it. I mean, I'm excited.
Dude,
some of them are
let's-
pretty
some of these
good.
are-
Wait, I have a question for you. I'm a listener too. Okay, you said Wyatt Russell earlier, U.S. agent, you're a big fan of his. Did you ever see the movie Overlord?
No, I've not seen Overlord.
That sounds
Okay,
familiar.
I'm not going to say
I wanna
anything else.
Okay. Adding it to the list.
It is a
Legend and Overlord.
It is a movie that you need to go watch. It was such a surprise for me. It was released in 2018, and at the time, me and my buddies, three of them who are screenwriters or television writers, and myself, we would rank every movie we saw that year from top to bottom. And I'm talking, I think I saw like over 90 movies that year. This was a top 10 film for me out of nowhere. And Wyatt Russell is in it. It's got a great cast and really good director, produced by J.J. Abrams. So I love it because it was just so surprising. It was one of the ones that I was able to go into without having seen any spoilers, and I just had a ton of fun. So go watch that if you like Wyatt Russell.
Okay,
That's where
sweet.
Yeah.
Overlord,
Where I
I
came
got
to,
it.
really appreciate the kid. Yeah, man.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, prior to recording, we had also been talking about the movies that scarred us. So now Scott has given us two movie recommendations. One of them was off air. What was the name of that one again, Scott? What was the movie that damaged you as a child?
Yeah, man. First movie ever to give me just flat out nightmares was a movie that neither of you have seen, actually, called Legend. If the listeners out there know what this movie is, if you've ever been to Halloween Horror Nights or anything like Universal Studios, or you've seen this character before, but the villain in it was played by Tim Curry, who is just one of my favorite actors of all time. He's so good, especially in Clue. But he plays a character called Darkness, and that thing is so frightening. And there's it deals with he turns the entire planet to an ice age. There's an eternal snow. It freezes everybody in place. Tom Cruise is the star. He has to go defeat this demon. And I would wake up every night for a month after seeing the movie in the theater with my parents, mind you, at 6 years old.
It was PG. It was PG.
Just waking up to the thinking I was in the middle of an eternal snow. And it would freak me out. That movie, and I'm sure this one has scarred many kids out there, Dark Crystal. Those two movies were movies that, with the Skeksis, they are insanely freaky to me. The Gelflings are fine. They're fun. And you got those hunched over dudes in the beginning, and they're all they just sing in the lowest voice possible. And you're just what is this? This is the coolest thing ever. But the Skeksis, they freaked me out.
So that was my answer
fair.
to the movie that scarred me. For some reason, 1 week in my childhood, my mother decided that all of us kids needed to just hate her, I guess. And she made us watch Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. And I still get kind of freaked out by Labyrinth sometimes. Those goblins are no joke. I don't remember what they're called, but the ones that their limbs detach and they play basketball and golf.
The ones that throw
with
their
their
heads around?
Yeah, throw
Those
their
guys
heads
are
around.
great.
Oh, it freaked me out so much. And even the good guys, the little goblin big nose dude that helps the girl the whole time. I'm this dude's not a looker. He's not exactly someone who I want on my side. He's sweet and all. He's a nice guy, but yeah, the Labyrinth and Dark Crystal both freaked me out from the twisted side of Jim
you
Henson.
Didn't
Yeah, you
Hoggle?
guys had such
You
heavy
didn't Hoggle?
Hoggle's
fantasy.
creepy.
Come on.
Maybe I was a little too young, but I'm this dude, he's nice, super nice dude, sweet guy. Love that he's helping out. I liked the Fox guy a lot. That one he was a cool guy.
Didymus.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't know any of these names. He ruled.
And he rides around on a dog named Ambrosius. And the only reason I know all of this stuff off the top of my head right now is because movie night in our house has become just a huge thing. So my wife, my two kids, we will each, like, we rotate. So once a month, each of us gets to pick a movie to watch. And I picked Labyrinth on my last go around. And the kids absolutely loved it. And I think it's because they don't see puppetry. They just don't see puppetry. So they were like so thrilled with like, oh, you know, the big guy who can control rocks by singing, and Sir Didymus riding around on the dog. Like they loved him. And the red guys whose limbs all come off, they're called Fireys. And those guys, my kids were laughing through that so much. So it's just, I think everything has evolved so much now. Kids are seeing all this animation that we couldn't have dreamed of when I was like 5 years old. And I think because of that, they have seen a lot more harrowing things now than they used to, I think, because of just how scary they can do, like this animated stuff. Even in like the Disney films can get like a little bit freaky, you know? And so when they go back and see the live puppetry, it's almost kind of like whimsical in a way. So, yeah, when we were kids, sure. Yeah. But I'm way older than you guys. But when we were kids, like, yeah, I could see that freaking us out.
I mean, you guys really heavy on like the fantasy scares, and like that stuff, you know, freaked me out too. But like the big ones for me, it was like Jaws. My parents were like watching that, and I had walked out. They're like, you can watch it if you want. Like, again, under the pretense of like, it's PG. I was like, oh, sure. And like all I saw from that movie was like the opening scene, you know, they swim out to the buoy. It's like, oh, come on, come join me. And then you see like the red jaws of the shark like bite under the water. And that was enough to just like legitimately scar me forever. Yeah, and the other one wasn't like a particular movie, but vampires. Like I would have so many conversations with my mom where I'm like, Mom, they look just like us. I'm not convinced that they're not real. And she's just like, Ian, like, you have to believe me. I was like, but you don't know either. I was very, very harsh on that. So vampires were always like, I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of faith in that. I was pretty convinced they were real. So. But as far as like questions, so kind of like bleeding in from the event here, a question for you about Heroclix for Huntingtons, Scott, is how would you like to see it expand next year? I know it sounds like we have so many big movements this year with the exclusive debuts, the continuation of the maps, the prizing, absolutely incredible. You know, you have people outside of the event reaching out to you as well. Do you have any ideas for the future? Anything coming to mind for that?
You know, there's been talk and there's been a lot of questions of like, can we make this a regional thing? Can we make this a year-long initiative? Can we make this multiple events? And I think this is a good question to chat about why can't quite do that. And it's because I feel like I need to be there. I need to be at these events. And it's a very personal thing. And it also, you know, depends on WizKids and their limits, which I think they might be hitting at some point soon, because I mean, the pricing that we have is insanity and they are so generous. And if you think about everything that they give to us every year, I am very hesitant to ask for anything more. I know a lot of people have wanted to see if we can move out of Huntsville this year. It just wasn't in the cards for us. We checked Atlanta and we checked on prices, and the lowest quotes we were getting for an event space were like $12,000 to $20,000. And what we try to do with our event is, you know, utilize the money that we make to help create something called Centers for Excellence for Huntington's disease, which is send people in to educate doctors in different cities at some of the larger hospitals, you know, whether it's UCLA here in Los Angeles or down in Houston or up in Minneapolis or in Wisconsin. And, you know, educate, set up a center where we have different therapies that are very helpful, whether it's occupational or speech, whether it's just flat out group therapy for family members who are, you know, have a member of their family with Huntington's disease. Allow doctors to understand how to diagnose this thing properly. I mean, there's lots of levels of education that need to be done to help diagnose and care for people with Huntington's. And those Centers for Excellence cost about, you know, $8,000 a piece. And if you look at how much money we've made, that's quite a few Centers of Excellence that we've been able to contribute to. But if we're paying $12,000 for a venue, that's 1.5 Centers of Excellence that we're letting go out the door just to move to a bigger city. So for us right now, we're going to keep looking at making a move that makes sense. If we can find a donated space, if we can go somewhere, because we haven't had to pay anything, in Huntsville for years. And even this year, we are paying about $3,000 for the venue itself for 5 days, which is an incredible rate. Divergence is being very generous. And so, how can we grow this thing further? We're always looking at new ideas. I feel like we've iterated on the event every single year. We've added, we've tinkered, we've changed events. What I'd really love to see is us try and figure out some way to serve the online community a little bit more. This year, we had to cancel online BRs because last year we broke even. And this year we were afraid that we might even lose money by running online BRs because the pricing that we send out the door for those things, just like every one of our events that we run in person, is through the roof. And we just had to make that tough call this year. But I know when we did that, we kind of limited the event participation for people who can't make it down to Huntsville. So I know everybody out there wants to take part in this, and I love that so much. And I want to figure out a way to continue to serve the people that can't be there for the weekend. But we have to do it in a smart way. The last thing I'd love to do is maybe have another Heroclix for Huntingtons based figure on a limited release like we had with the Scott Porter white and black shirt figures. That was something that WizKids has chatted with us about, possibly doing another figure like that. I don't know what it would be, but that run in itself made $25,000. That was a flat out donation from WizKids directly to HDSA in the name of the Heroclix for Huntingtons initiative. So, doing something like that allows a direct to consumer element helps kind of check all those boxes. If you can't be at the event, we have a special figure that is going to go on sale, that is going to be a part of the fabric of the game, that you can purchase and you can feel like you've given to the cause and that you're a part of the cause and you're playing with a piece that's meant for the cause. And that kind of connectivity, I think, answers all those questions. So those are a couple of things that we're looking at. And as always, we want to hear from everybody out there as well. After the event, let us know what worked and what didn't. I know last year we didn't have air conditioning. This year we do. So we take everything into consideration. Nice. And, that's how we're looking at it.
All right. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Got to choose your battles, and you're already in such a good spot that sometimes it's not always the best decision to be like, all right, and how can we go bigger and bigger and bigger? So, yeah, really solid answer. So, WizKids clearly love supporting Heroclix for Huntingtons as well. Is there anyone there that you'd like to give a shout out to who's really helped make these events a reality?
Yeah. I've shouted out Howard and Tracy already, but over on the WizKids side, Justin Zeron was the first person that I called, and he was the one that just said, hey, green light, make this happen. Jimmy O'Brien over at WizKids was my partner in crime for the first 2 years on this. A lot of the unique prizing that we have were all his ideas. And, the Become a Switch clicks, the Create a Bystander, these are all pitches that he sent my way. And I can't take credit for any of that stuff. And then, of course, as we've gone forward the last couple of years, as far as like on the WizKids side of like people I want to thank, Ryan Opalk was a huge boon to our event last year. Coming down and having a presence actually from WizKids as a part of the event was so cool. But of course, V Muse, who has been doing the live stream for us out of the goodness of her heart for free every single year the last couple of years. And everybody else over there, the whole team that makes sure that we get all that product that we have, to give out to everybody that comes and participates in the event. The other people I want to shout out is all of the judges, especially the ones that have been there with us since the very beginning. Kuz and Aaron, Morgan, and some of the judges that we picked up along the way, like Barnstable, Jay Saul. These guys, they give up their chance to play to win any of this stuff by coming down and, judging and envoying for us all weekend long. And there's so many guys, Brian and everybody else. In the last few years, we've had judges online as well. So Miles Kane and Brad. I mean, there's just, a ton of people that have given so much of their time to make this thing successful. So big shout out to all those guys. And for everybody listening, we make sure that even though they can't come down and play in all these events, that they get a part of the prize package as well. So the judges prizing for these events, we try to make sure that we take care of them completely. And we know they're missing out on a lot of great playtime and sitting with friends and being able to, really take part in the event. So we want to reward them for all their volunteered. So long form answer, man, I'm bad at doing this speed round thing.
That's okay. We'll pivot a little bit. So we'll get outside of the event. We'll ask some more just questions to you. So this is one of my favorite questions that was asked to our show, which they had asked when Simeon was back on the show. Which lantern core would you assign to the other people in Dial H? And so we can give our answers on you first, or you can say what you think you are. But Scott, if you were a lantern, what core do you think you would be a part of?
I mean,
do you want us to go, or do you want to go?
I think I'm with Saint Walker and the boys. That's where I think I'm at. I think you have to when you're dealing with something like we're dealing with and just trying to do it in a positive light. So I'd say my lantern color is blue. I don't know what you guys would think.
Going blue. My first thought was like indigo, because I think running a charity or like doing a lot of things for charity has like a lot of compassion to that kind of aspect. So I was going indigo. Was my guess or my choice, I guess.
I was between blue and green. I think it takes a lot of willpower to do what you do. You have to dedicate a lot of time, a lot of resource. And then, it's a bit of a battle as well, clearly. So, but yeah, I think blue or green would fit. I mean, maybe you're a split lantern, first ever on the show here.
There you go.
Yeah, I think those are all good answers. Okay.
I think the compassion end of it is great as well. I mean, I'm flattered. I think I'm blue because, and I'll say this, don't necessarily, I never expected this thing to go crazy. I just hoped that it would, and just took a leap of faith, and everyone out there is the ones who have lifted this up. Everybody that comes and participates gives up their time like you guys tonight to chat with me about it. So I think that's why I immediately went to hope. And I think the people that come down are more like the indigo lanterns. You guys are the ones showing up and driving 18 hours and spending your good earned cash over the weekend to contribute to the cause. And that to me is like the compassion of it all. So
right on. I love that.
Definitely.
I love that a lot. I have a few fire round questions of my own here. Really quickly, do you have a favorite year in Heroclix? Either a year you went to a lot of events that you enjoyed playing in, or a year that maybe it just felt like every single set was a winner, a top 10 set in your mind. For me, just as an example, like 2014 was one of my favorite years ever. Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, War of Light, Summer OP. I played a ton of Heroclix that year. The zombie chases, I was a huge Marvel Zombies fan. So to me, that was like a landslide Heroclix year. Just amazing. Do you have any years in Heroclix that were your favorite?
I think it's probably a tie between... So the reason that I talk about the worlds with Ultimates and everything that year, the reason I love that year so much is I had spent the prior year in Japan, and I had been playing Heroclix online through Creation Matrix and HC Realms and their playground and RPG forums, where we drafted teams and played using like online apps, die roller apps, map apps. Big shout out to the old Creation Matrix playground and HC Realms role-playing groups. But when I came back, reverse entry into the States is tough when you've lived somewhere else. Like culture shock is one thing when you go to another country. Reverse culture shock when you come back to the States and see how we live compared to how you lived for a year outside of the country was even worse. And I think the reason is everybody around me was like, hey, how was Japan? I'm like, oh, it was so cool. And they're like, great. And they only have to catch up with me. but I had to catch up with hundreds of people. Be like, how was your year while I was gone? And also like recalibrate what life is like. So I just was like, screw it. I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm going to go play in Worlds. I'm just going to go play Heroclix for a weekend. And that was that weekend. And I, end up in top 32 at Worlds. And that was awesome, man. I was just like, I was amongst my people again. So it was less about the sets that came out that year, but also that was the year that Feats came out, Battlefield Conditions. Ultimates was a hot set for a while. Ultimate Thor, everybody wanted to play that guy. I built a
he was
team
the
that
man.
killed that guy. Yeah, but I built a team that was specifically meant to kill him. I was winning tournaments everywhere. I moved to New York that year. Like it was kind of like back to back. Like it was like, two big moves for me, and HeroClix was there for me the whole time. So I think that year, and then the other year that I really loved, and I don't know why this particular summer play kit really hit me, was AVX. I loved the Phoenix Force versions of, the X-Men. And I think it is because I'm such a mad fan of the X-Men. And it just felt like they were just getting such a huge spotlight in such a cool way. And it was the first summer play event that I was really able to take part in like everything, because work just lined up perfectly for me. So those two.
I love that. Those AVX starters, my buddy and I played those all the time. It was so much fun. That was such a good event. My next quick question I have is, do you have a favorite Star-Lord or a Star-Lord HeroClix figure that you think is the most accurate to maybe either how he plays or how he looks in Marvel Rivals?
I have never played Star-Lord on a HeroClix map.
Avengers Forever is pretty good. That's what I'd say.
There's no Star-Lord in HeroClix that gives me an anxiety attack like Star-Lord in Rivals.
That's
like,
true.
Hearing you yell legendary, it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to get cooked. Somebody support all. Luna, go.
It's when I play, I don't know why I never connected with Guardians in that way on the map. But like X Factor is one of my all-time favorite teams. The Runaways, I absolutely love. When they first came out, I would go run Runaways everywhere. Chase was lanterning everybody around with Leapfrog, and that team did so many cool things, and people wouldn't expect you, and next thing you know, they lost to a bunch of kids. They're like, what? How did this happen? It's like,
they
so
were
I've
all
always
really
gravitated
stout
towards
in their own right. Yeah, like really, really solid figures.
Molly, yeah.
Molly's
great.
Yeah,
Gert's
insane.
great. Yeah. But I've never really run Star-Lord ever on a map. So, I mean, I can look at them all and say which ones I like the look of, but I've actually never really played one before, which is nutty to me. Do you have a favorite one?
I'm a big fan of the Hammer of Thor one.
That's
the classic Star-Lord suit. Yeah, like that's when around the time like ATAs were a thing. I'd run him with like the Web of Spider-Man, Groot, and then Bug from Hammer of Thor as well. And they all had like their black and red, like kind of those button jackets. And I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were like at all. But I just thought they were kind of a ragtag team. I've always kind of gravitated towards that. Like Calder and I are both massive fans of like the Great Lakes Avengers. So this was almost like a precursor to that team. And I just had a blast with it. That Star-Lord had some RCE. He had the sharpshooter attack symbol back when that was a thing. So he was a good time.
One of my faves is easily the 2014 Fast Forces Guardians of the Galaxy movie set Star-Lord. Him and Drax both had a once per game they could pulse wave from a square within range and line of fire, as if they occupied that square. That ability rocked. So I absolutely loved that Star-Lord. It was so much fun to just pulse wave and then hit someone like around a corner, basically. It was so much fun.
Didn't one of the Star-Lords have a power that this was very thematic to me. I think there's a Star-Lord that has one, if he attacks first, it doesn't count against your action total. There's a Star-Lord that has that power, and that one to me always struck me as oh, that's cool. That's really cool, because he attacks without thinking. And I thought it was one of the movie ones. Maybe it's Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or Guardians of the Galaxy 2 sets when they used to have those countertop displays the single figures. And that one was, it was like Star-Lord Man or something like that was like the line that he had. Funny in that you were talking about too. Yeah, that classic look. I love Peter Quill in Annihilation. And on the other side of Annihilation is when Guardians was launched. And Abnett and Lanning and everybody were in control of those books. And he wasn't the wacky,
No,
Chris
he
Pratt
really
style
wasn't.
Star-Lord. He was more of a leader. And so that piece feels very much like that as well. I think he had, is that the one that has Recruiter, or is that the Avengers Forever one?
There must be Avengers Forever.
There's one in like a class. Yeah. He has like Recruiter, and that made it feel like that's more of like a Star-Lord. That is more like that Annihilation version of Peter Quill, which is really, really cool. I'll have to go find it was a super rare or a chase, the one that has the if Star-Lord is the first attack of your turn. If like he acts before everybody else, then it doesn't count against your action tokens, which is like, that is such a Star-Lord thing to like go off and like, attack without even thinking or asking.
Yeah, and then
anybody.
come to maybe regret it when you crit miss or something.
Yep.
Yeah, the next question I have has nothing to do with HeroClix or the event, but one of my coworkers, Haley, is obsessed with you. She is self-reported your biggest fan. And I was just wondering if you could give her a quick shout out, Scott. I know it'd mean a lot to her.
Yeah, no, Haley, what's up? How are you? This is Scott Porter. I think congratulations are in order. I think you might have just had a little girl as well. So, big congrats. And I don't know which show you know me from, but long live the heart, clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. All's well in Wellsbury. Don't know which base I'm covering, but I tried them all. And no, just it's people like Haley that keep me employed. So I have the utmost infinite gratitude to you all. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That rocks. And we can move into our listener questions now, which
Will
kick off.
Holland asks, are you a wrestling fan? And if so, what unclicked wrestlers would you like to see?
I'm not really a wrestling fan. Back when I was just coming out of high school, I was working at public superhero markets. Public supermarkets. My brain. If I put the word super in my mouth, I say hero afterwards. Public supermarkets, which is like the best supermarket chain in the country. I will die on that hill. My buddies all in the stockroom were huge wrestling fans. So I got into it for a little bit with them. It was like 99, 2000. There was a really great wrestling game that was out as well. We'd finish work at Publix, go back and play the game at my buddy Matt's house. And, when I needed somebody from the stockroom, I would get on the intercom at the front of the store and go, "Can you smell what the stock is cooking?" And they notice send somebody up to the front for me. So, yeah, that's it. But as far as like wrestlers, has The Miz ever been made into HeroClix form?
He is not.
Okay, I'll go with Miz. I've been in fantasy football leagues with that guy for years. And as much of a heel as he can be, on tour, on screen, really good dude behind the scenes.
I like it.
Wes Robertson asks, would you like to see legacy cards for your figures to get them back into Modern?
No.
No? Oh, wow.
Look,
that was quick.
I just got to say, man, it's like it's almost unprecedented that they're like, yeah, just retire this dude after a year. And I didn't even get a phone call. It wasn't even like, hey, Scott, you're out of here. It was, I didn't even know it was happening. I actually didn't know I was
you off
retired.
the stage, huh? Okay.
I didn't even know I was retired till 2 months afterwards. So it's not that I don't want them, but it's also like, it's just, there's no way in heck that it would ever happen. So I think that
they had a red hot spotlight. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They were, we both played them a lot. So did 99% of the player base. So that's a fair answer.
Wes also asks, do you ever show HeroClix to your celebrity friends, your professional industry friends? If so, what is their reaction?
Yeah, when I was shooting the pilot for Friday Night Lights, there are a couple of things I do every new city that I go to for work. And I've had these things for the entirety of my career. And the reason I do it is to ground myself in the city that I'm at so that work doesn't eat me alive. Because, you know, I didn't go to school for this. I was a football player and a structural engineering major in college and somehow ended up in the career that I'm in. And every time I go to a new city, I find a basketball court, I find a karaoke bar, and I find a comic shop. 3 things that I know I can count on to go and like just get my mind off of everything else, you know? And the comic shop, I always try and find a comic shop that has Clix as a part of it. So Friday Night Lights pilot down in Austin, Texas, I found a shop and I was going to play. And not a lot of us had cars, but I had one. And I brought the old, like, you could buy the Walmart individually cased tackle boxes, you know? It had a leather strap go over your arm and you could carry it with you. I took that with me to Austin, Texas, full of preloaded teams to play Heroclix with. And it rode around in the back of my car, and I'd have to give other people rides because they didn't all have cars. And Minka Kelly and Zach Guilford, who played Matt Saracen and Lila Garrity on the show, were always like, what is that in their trunk? It like rattles around. It sounds like there's a bunch of stuff in it. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And one day Zach opens it up, looks at it, he's like, are these toys? I was like, no, they're HeroClix.
They're collectible miniatures. Thank you very much.
It's like chess with superheroes. It's a very cerebral game. And so they were like, we want to go see you play the game. And I was like, you don't. You don't want to go because you're going to be at this comic shop for 4 hours. And they were like, no, we won't. I was like, yeah, you will. And they're like, no, we won't. We'll come check it out and then we'll go get something to eat and then we'll come back and pick you up. I was like, guys, you would have to eat 3 meals before I'm done with the tournament that night. But they did it. Lila Garrity, Minka Kelly, who is just drop dead gorgeous, like walks into the comic shop with me to play HeroClix at a city I don't even really know. And the whole store was like, who is that? Everybody's like, why is she here? And then when I was on the series, Adrian Palicki, who played Tyra, was Tyra Collette, would actually go with me every now and then to my comic shop, Bee Cave Comics in Austin, Texas, and Dragon's Lair. And she would even show up on her own when I'd be playing Clix or whatever. And she loved it. And then eventually I got some friends in the business into playing it. Robert Buckley, who was on Heart of Dixie with me, and he went on to be one of the leads on iZombie for however many seasons they went for. He learned how to play the game. And that's actually, he was on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. unboxing with me. And that was because he picked up the game because he came to my trailer at Heart of Dixie and saw the figures because I was going to play that night after I was leaving work, and I brought my team. I had been working on, constructing his team, and he was like, what are these? And I told him all about it, and he picked up the game, and he played for years. So, yeah, those are my stories.
That rocks. Kind of a similar vein, which Alec Musser from HeroClix USA asks, what was a bigger HeroClix accomplishment for Scott? Becoming 2 separate cliques that were on 99% of teams, or singing improv about HeroClix with Wayne Brady?
Yeah, singing with Wayne. I came up with Wayne in Orlando, Florida. I was working at Universal Studios as a classic monster in a rock and roll song and dance show. Which, aside, I taught all those guys how to play HeroClix too. So you'd walk into the break room and see Dracula and Wolfman and Frankenstein playing HeroClix on the 3 foot by 3 foot map, like way back in the day. So our favorite map was the house had the pool in the backyard. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but we
probably have it in my stack somewhere. That rocks.
One of the original Infinity Challenge maps. But I came up with Wayne. I used to beatbox. I was in a cappella groups for a long time, and he would improv and then want an a cappella group underneath him to also improv so he could do this whole thing. So he'd take requests, much like he would on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He'd get prompts on Whose Line. He would do it live. He would take requests, and they'd be like, hey, we want a reggae song about, whatever, picking up trash. And then, he'd turn and go, okay, reggae, hit me with the reggae tune. And, have that like, kind of kickback beat,
Definitely. Well, yeah, I thought that'd be a pretty clear answer. I mean,
Yeah.
So,
Rocks.
so then to do that with Wayne Brady and do Heroclix on Whose Line Is It Anyway was like the coolest thing. So
Alex the Enchanter asks, hey, Scott, through your career, you've performed in a ton of different settings, including theatrical length film, serialized television, stage, and voice acting. Do you have a favorite environment for performing? And if so, what's your favorite experience from doing that?
I love the consistency of television. But like my favorite experience of all time on a set, it's really hard to pick. And I love live theater too. Like live theater is the only thing that makes me go like, God, I want to do that again. I want to go back and get on stage again. Like I don't have that feeling about necessarily going to set every day, but stage always had that thing. But favorite experience, I think, was a mix of the two. I did a little music video for a movie called Music and Lyrics, and it was me and Hugh Grant as like a reenactment of like a Wham style band singing an actual tune by the dudes from Fountains of Wayne, called Pop Goes My Heart. And that was like a clash of all things together. And that was a real incredible experience. And the other one I think that comes to mind is I'm in Madden, which still blows my mind to this day, because being a sports fan growing up, I played Madden NFL football, and you hear when you turn on the game, if it's in the game, it's in the game. It's like this, and I'm in the game, man. And we did a story mode for Madden called Long Shot. And while
yeah, I remember this. Last time we had interviewed you, I had looked into this and watched some clips of it. I was like, this is crazy that this is a Madden. I don't know. It's just such a different vein than anything they've ever done. It was really cool.
But it takes you back to feeling like you're a kid, because you're on a completely white blank space with no costumes, no sets, nothing. You're pretending everything is around you. And I watch my kids now play, and that's how they play. And that is beat out of us before we hit adulthood. And working in motion capture really is just like a form of play again. And it didn't hurt that I got to work with Dan Marino and Bill Cower and Ocho Cinco and then Oscar-winning actors, Barry Corbin and Mahershala Ali. I mean, there was just like the cast we had on that thing was crazy. And the fact that I ended up as a lead character in Madden, and then my character, Colt Cruz, got a Madden Ultimate Team card that you could pull in Madden Ultimate Team and play with on your Madden Ultimate Team was just like next level craziness. So I think those are the two kind of ones that really stand out to me as like most unique, kind of coolest, probably will never happen again experiences for me.
Yeah. Wow. It really is like a blend of all of those things. That's really cool. So another question. We've just got a couple more. This one comes from Warborg Jedi. He says, when you do get to play, do you lean towards a theme, certain characters, or do you just shake it up every time?
Yeah, no, I'm a theme guy, but the theme doesn't have to be like completely like one of my favorite teams of all time was a team I called Ultimate Soldiers, and it was just all soldiers. It was soldier themed, and I really wanted to run Gears of War and Heroclix as well as, so I ended up choosing like Johnny Alpha from Indie Clicks and, something from, Heroclix, something from Gears Clicks. I think Smoky Feet Cap was on that team.
The GOAT. Yes.
The GOAT.
Yeah, the GOAT. The GOAT. I still like to be competitive, so like have one or two, meta pieces with then just like a bunch of spice around it. That's off meta stuff or whatever. And I think I talked about earlier, like X Factor was a team I ran for a long time. The Runaways was West Coast Avengers was one I love to run. I love to run Archers in DC for a while. That was like just, back when Martial Artist was broken and Connor Hawk had Martial Artist. It was just like, there's a bunch of different teams but I always lean into theme. And I still play to win, but the theme of it all is what tickles me most.
Definitely. I mean, I'm very similar vein where kind of has to be some kind of theme. I got to shoot for something. But yeah, that can be a team or, kind of the ultimate soldier vein where it's like, all right, let me get some stuff together that is kind of in the same realm. We'll make it a little crazy.
Soldier was always my favorite keyword. Past is starting to become my new favorite keyword, but I always loved soldier. So I love that answer from a personal place. Edison Lee asks,
I would have never guessed Calder.
Yeah, I know. What a surprise.
Right?
What one
That's
character
crazy.
always has the soldier keyword that I may like playing? Could be anyone. Edison Lee asks, do you have a figure that you'd like to see get a legacy card? Who would your top legacy figure be?
Oh, man. I feel like I already didn't Havoc get a legacy card. That was one guy I wanted to have. Like
I think
that,
there was a Havoc, yeah.
The vet,
that
the
44
vet.
that 44
Mutant
point
Mayhem?
vet Havoc. Yes. He was a
He's an animal.
beast. Do you remember back in the day, like 44 points was like some like mythological sweet spot for Heroclix. Like every 44 point figure was phenomenal. Like there was actually a period of time where like scientifically it was like every 44 point formula was like perfect. So I've already gotten one of them with that Havoc. Man, maybe Blue Lantern Flash? Or actually, maybe the Flash Green Lantern from Brave and the Bold.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That might be cool. That
Those
might
goofy
be cool.
duos.
Something from like those duos. And they're starting to pick those up in Legacies is like kind of cool. And that goes along with what I said earlier in the podcast when I was saying I like to reach back into the Heroclix past and pull that form of nostalgia forward to kind of reward people who've been around for a long time like me. And so that might be one that I'd look into as well.
Awesome. Well, the final question comes from his own Bill. He says, okay, Scott, Pistons in 6 or Pistons in 7?
Pistons go home. Enjoy Cancun. Knicks in 6.
There you have it, Bill.
Wow.
I know you're dying to hear it.
Mic drop.
And I agree with him. The Pistons are not winning that series, just to be clear. No chance.
It all comes down to Cat. If Cat plays soft, then Pistons can do what they need to do. But if Cat plays like he played in Game 3, tough and clutch to, be Sundance to Butch Cassidy, Jalen Brunson over there, then I think they've got what it takes. And I'm a massive Knicks fan, have been my whole life. And for Cat to do something that only Patrick Ewing has done before in Game 3, if he can keep that up, I think we win in 6, like I said.
Yeah, Cat in the past in the playoffs has had he's so bad at pulling fouls. He can sometimes just puts his head down. He's like, all right, I'm just going to drive every single play. And it's like, no, stop doing that. So if he can keep his head on straight, I agree. Like, I think the Knicks got it easy.
Well,
But that is every question we've got.
yeah. Well, Scott, I want to just say thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a blast to have you. I really enjoyed all the discussion that we had tonight. And of course, listener, be on the lookout, of course, for the Heroclix for Huntingtons event happening in May. So any last shout outs that you want to do before we do our little outro here, Scott?
And I just want to say I'm going to miss you guys down there this year, but hopefully I'll be back in Omaha, back in the Midwest. Later this year, we have a Porter family reunion on my dad's side of the family that I'm hoping to get back for. So if I do, I'll definitely look you guys up and maybe even get back to my old stomping grounds, Dragon's Lair down in in Omaha, Nebraska. So, go Big Red. And, I hope to see you guys at the event next year. But thank you so much for giving me time this year. And you're going to be missed.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Dial H for Heroclix. Like always, we are brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. If you want to be like all of the listeners that asked Scott a question and ask us a question in future episodes, you can join the Patreon at dialh4heroclix.patreon.com and check us out there. Little as $5 a month gives you access to the Discord and so many goodies, or you can send us an email at dialh4heroclix@gmail.com. I've been your host, Kalder and Ian. For all of your Heroclix unboxings, podcasts, and more, make sure you dial H. And like always, happy trails.
Doo-bop, shoo-ba-de, 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 doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, bop, shoo-ba-de, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, bop, shoo-ba-de, doo-bop, shoo-ba-de, doo-bop, shoo-ba-de, doo-bop, shoo-ba-de, doo. Bop, shoo-ba-de doo, bop, bop, shoo-ba-de doo, 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 bop, shoo-ba-de doo.